Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Welcome to Circuit Zolder for the Season 7 finale of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech miniMite Sportscar Challenge here on Apex Racing TV. Nestled in the heart of Belgium, this storied 4-kilometer, that's about 2.5-mile circuit, has been the site of triumphs, heartbreaks, and unforgettable moments in motorsports history. With its technical corners, challenging chicanes, and high-speed straights, Zolder demands precision, bravery, and raw skill from every driver who dares to tackle it. And tonight, it's all on the line. 2 35-minute sprint races will determine 3 champions. Can Tyler King continue his season of LMP dominance? Can Eric Violette validate his move to GT cars after so many seasons of running prototypes? And can Lucas Dragota, seeking redemption, win the championship that slipped away from his grasp with just 1 lap remaining in season number 6? I'm Greg Ginsburg, and joining me in the announce booth, as always, is Larry Lefty McLeod, and of course, let's not forget Jonathan Grabowski. He's giving you all the best views of tonight's action. And so, good evening, Larry, and welcome to Zolder for the Season 7 finale.
Yeah, Zolder. We haven't seen this one on the Ricmotech calendar before, but what a great place to spend our season finale. We're in round 8 of 8. In fact, this was supposed to be round 7. It got pushed to round 8, maybe to make it just that much more special. But it's a rarely used track. I've run some public races here, but we don't see it too much anymore in these other private series. But it's interesting in how flat this track is. It's got to be one of the flattest tracks in the world. There isn't a lot of elevation, but it definitely has different characteristics. There are some places that are extremely wide, and others, these chicanes, are so narrow. It's going to be tough to pass through those chicanes if you're multi-class racing, but we'll see who can do it wisely and who makes those mistakes tonight.
Yeah, indeed. And this track has so many chicanes. It's got, I think, 3 or 4 different chicanes across the entire 2.5 miles. And they are chicanes that you would love to be able to straighten out, Larry. But if you have to go side by side with a car through the chicanes, guaranteed your exit speed is going to be killed. And you're going to have to watch out for cars creeping up from behind. And I think, as you mentioned, there are so many portions of this track, including most of those chicanes, where the track is so amazingly narrow that it is going to make for some very rough going as our two different classes, as our LMP3s in their Ligers and our GT4 cars interact to try and make it to the checkered flag across both of our 35-minute races tonight.
Yeah, and I know we haven't had track guides prepared quite a while, but we can at least take a look at some of these cars, see what they're doing as we're on board here with one of the Klim Club, Chris Klimovich, who's working his way down the back straight into the Klein chicane. And you can just see how tight that is and how tall those sausage curbs are. They are just absolutely treacherous. And then it's down around the Butte sweep. It gets you into the next chicane, which is then a series of a couple of 90s after that. There's a hairpin down the way. And some of this, like through here, is so tight. There's one line to take. It's going to be so difficult to be side by side with anybody. But then all of a sudden it opens up through this long left-hand sweep that he's about to enter here. And it takes you down to this turn 8 hairpin, named for Johan Rindt, famous Formula 1 driver there. He'll come out of that. And this is a chicane. It's kind of a straightaway, at least for this one. Just kind of gets everybody sorted out. And then they'll take that to the Jackie Ix chicane as well.
Yeah, and that Jackie Ix chicane turn 10 here will lead you onto the front straight. Here it is. As a matter of fact, you can see where the track originally continued straight on here and come through the chicane and on to the front straight with those iconic windmills in your view there. And once again, you'll come under and head right back to another very tight turn going into turn 1 into Erst. But Larry, as we take a look here, we're now a little bit less than 10 minutes into our 15-minute qualifying session, where we give our drivers the opportunity to set a flying lap and set the grid for tonight's race. We allow them to run 4 flying laps, and we still have some drivers on their last. We're watching right now Eric Violette, who is our GT4 Pro championship leader at the moment in his D2D Aston Martin, and he is working now just his 2nd flying lap, currently 5th fastest. 1 through 4 all have completed their 4 flying laps already. And as we take a look, the way we can pick out the GT4 Pro racers is they do have those red number boards on the sides of their cars, red mirrors, as well as windshield banners and end plates on their wings, whereas our GT4 AM drivers like Chuck Labano, who has completed his final flying lap, looks like he's just taken in a little bit of extra practice, qualified 2nd in AM. They've got the green number boards, windshield banners, mirrors, and end plates on their wings. And then, of course, we have our LMP3 racers all racing in the same Ligier chassis. And they've all taken to the pit lane, but you can tell the difference. Oh, and look at this, Larry. He was sitting down and kind of hanging out towards the bottom of the GT4 field. But Robert Schwenkler from the wrong stuff. Keep thinking about that movie. From the wrong stuff in that number 235 McLaren. He now goes to the top of the leaderboard, and he's working his 4th and final flying lap now, as he's going to try and improve upon the 134.58 that he's set for provisional pole. We'll see if Eric Violette can make up that gap.
Yeah, so coming into tonight, we'll get to the points in a little while. Of course, Schwenkler came in only down an 8th in a hotly contested GT4 Pro category. Everyone chasing Eric Violette. Currently in the qualifying order, he's on the outside of row 3, so he's going to have to pick it up or see if he can make up some positions. There he is. In fact, he's not moving very far right there.
No, he is not. Looks like he had some issues there, and that's in the last chicane. That's at the Jackie Ix chicane there, turn 10. Let's well, there he is in the grass. So not only is lap number 2 a wash, Larry, but he wasn't going to be carrying a lot of speed here. Let's take a look and see what happened. He just pulled it off.
I wonder if it wasn't going well and he thought maybe he could reset and start a flying lap, because that is the start of a new lap just past that, and that didn't work either. So we'll see what Eric can do.
Yeah, so Violet now, I believe, we thought that maybe he hit his 4th lap. I think he's working his 4th lap now. And yeah, Larry, so that obviously a big issue for him, because he wasn't going to be able to carry speed. out of the last corners, as we're on board right now with Dan. And there's Violet, who now goes off track. So it looks like he's gonna, our championship leader, probably gonna be content with starting no better than 6th here tonight, as we were watching Dan Carrillo. And Carrillo, our sole racer on track, yet to complete his 4 flying laps. This is his 3rd now. He is currently 9th in GT4 Pro, 10th overall, as this should give the Klim Club some excitement, as Klimovich, your provisional pole sitter in GT4 AM. Larry, real quick, as we watch Carrillo on screen, and it looks like he may have just called off his final flying lap, let's bring in a special guest here this evening. Unfortunately, a couple of the drivers that we had lined up to join us pre-race were not able to make it, so we're going to do something a little bit different tonight. We're going to bring in from Extreme Motorsports, Ryan Cobb, who is our race steward this evening, and maybe Ryan can tell us about those 10-second penalties that everybody will get when they knock a championship leader off at turn 1 this evening.
Good evening, Ryan. How are you?
I am good. How about you?
We're doing all right. So big night tonight, obviously season finale, round 8. As a steward, how do you police this to make sure it's a fair race without getting too deeply involved and maybe even creating outcomes by handing out penalties?
Yeah, I mean, overall, we don't want to be the story, right? If we can stay behind the curtains the entire time and not have to do anything, it's a pretty successful night. So we've had a good talk before the race. The drivers understand what's at stake here for everybody, and they don't want to be the story for the wrong reasons either. We want to keep the focus, and you guys do an awesome job doing that for the drivers out there, and ultimately want to have just the culmination of a great season, end up here with an awesome race and an awesome finish off to the championship battle.
Yeah, and I will say one of the positive feedbacks we always get about this series is the stewarding, the fact that it is live, it holds drivers to a high standard. You take a lot of pride in that, knowing that that's the reason why a lot of people are here.
I do. I think that, you've seen a lot of the talent that has come from this series over the last, goodness, we've been doing this probably for 7-8 years now at this point. Kind of one of the initial leagues who did it out there, right? So the talent that's come through here and the talent that we have and continue to bring in, I think it adds to the realism. It really gives these guys a place and an outlet to do this as realistically as possible. And again, we just want to add that one extra element to it. It's a passion that we all have up here between IMSA and WEC races that I've been to and everything like that. So if we can add just that little piece for them, it's what we're all for. So
yeah. All right. Well, it's been a great job. We love the stewarding. We like the fairness that this league always plays, and I think it does hold everyone to a high standard, and that shows in the type of racing that we get. So, congrats to you on being a good steward for us, and maybe one of these days we'll get you back behind the wheel and in racing as well.
Absolutely, that'd be awesome. Thank you guys, and great job by you as always. And let's have a strong finish to the season.
All right. Well, thanks, Ryan Cobb. Thank you for joining us as one of our stewards. I think we've got qualifying done, and we're ready to start this race.
All right, there you go. Looks like Ryan's got some business to take care of now, Larry, as we're getting, as you mentioned, getting ready to send our racers out for their pace lap here for race number 1 of 2 this evening. This is the finale of season number 7. All right, so let's run down the starting order. And Larry, tell you what, why don't you take the LMP cars, and I'll grab the GTs tonight.
All right, so tonight on the pole from Aerokinetics, it's your pole sitter Tyler King. He'll be lined up alongside Phantom Power Racing's Josh Vidal. On the second row, look at this, Bobby Childs from D2D Sim Racing putting in the work, and here he is on the second row, starting alongside him, Phantom Power Racing's Jake Zito. And then finally on row 3 on the inside, the only competitor on row 3, it's going to be Lead Power Racing's Marlon Jones.
Yeah, and should mention Bobby Childs was our fastest LMP3 racer in practice this week. All right, so let's take a look at our GT racers. On the pole, it is Robert Schwenkler from the wrong stuff, not the right stuff, in the number 235 McLaren. Starting alongside him will be Mike Dam from Orion Racing. Then we've got Brian Bennett from Sector 5 Racing in his Porsche Club Sport, and next to Bennett is going to be Leo Dragotta in the number 118 BMW. Then we've got Alex Brown. There we go. Then we've got Alex Brown from Eagle Beavers in the number 67 machine. Eric Violette, your championship leader in GT4, going to start right next to him. Then we've got Chris Thorman starting in 12th with Dave Klimovich next to him in 13th position. Dan Carrido will start 14th with Robert Hartley. Then Chuck Labano next to Lucas Dragotta. Then we've got Neil Weston, and Neil's going to start right next to, I believe, Tom Jenkins. Is that correct? Yes, for Midfield Motorsports. Then Chris Klimovich and Chad Sebring. Then quite a way back from the rest of his GT4 Pro brother and Jeff Jacobs in the SCCA Foundation BMW alongside Dale Maxwell. Then we've got Stephen May and John Sterling, John Casey and Russ Ruddick. And then right behind John Casey will be his Frida Stewart teammate, Greg Brockway. And that should round out what is, I believe, a 23-car GT4 field. All right, so that Mustang pace car now bringing the field through here on the pace up. Should mention, since we had our wonderful race steward in here and had Ryan Cobb in, that Ryan Cobb is, our stewarding staff is provided by the SCCA Foundation, which provides funding for the SCCA Academy, training the next generation of race workers and volunteers like Ryan that make up real-life road racing events possible. Visit sccafoundation.org for more information.
All right, well, split start as always. LMP3s will get their own green flag by that steward. And then, of course, our GT4 field as a whole, AMs and pros included, will get their own start shortly after. And you can see them kind of split there, the GT4s in the background. One more chicane to go.
Exactly, Larry. And when they come out of the Jackie Ixbach chicane here, turn 10, they'll be entering the start zone, and Ryan and his stewarding team will be free to give the green flag, and we are underway for our LMP3s. Here it is, the season championship season finale here at Zolder. Jumping out to an early lead is Tyler King, with Josh Vidal and Bobby Childs side by side coming through turn number 1 as they go through now turns 2 and 3, this double apex right-hander, and they'll then come up to the Lucian Bianca over at turn 4 as our GT4 cars now get the green flag, Larry. And as they come through the first corner, it is Robert Schwenkler in the lead. He's got Mike Dams in his BMW right behind, sliding in behind him, Brian Bennett in the Porsche Cayman, the GT4 Cayman. And then we've got Leo Dragotta from Orion, and then the Mercedes of Alex Brown from Eagle Beavers. That is your top 6 as they float through.
Oh, we got some action in the background, though.
Yeah, it looks like we've got a couple cars getting together now as they come out of turn 4. And we'll try and get the numbers on them in just a moment. I think Dale Maxwell and Chad Sebring involved there as they came out of turn 4 and headed down to the Klein chicane.
Yeah, we'll see how they can recover from that, but the front pack still here pretty tight. Let's catch a quick replay on this. So watching here for Sebring, you can see him in that Mercedes. He turns in,
tires,
just
Larry.
loses it by himself, and unfortunately, I think he kind of maybe triggered a little bit behind him. Maybe a separate spin.
Yeah, it looks like Sebring might have lost it on its own. Didn't look like he had any contact either. We'll take a quick look at him.
Maxwell there in one of those two Porsches. Oh, may have gotten together with his teammate there as they're exiting turn 4. Part of the Slow Bros Racing there may have come together with the Klimovich. I'm sure there'll be a Klim Club review about that on their own for that one.
That's, well, you know, we've got basically a 7-member court in the chat, Larry. So we'll see.
Doug will make sure they're all sorted out.
Exactly, and of course, all decisions have to be unanimous. All right, here, let's take a look, Larry, as we had one more incident here in the GT4 field coming under braking.
Oh, that's Thorman, and he goes right in front of Carrito, and the rest of the pack just backs up. Some of them even go through the gravel trap. Jeff Jacobs, a few others, looks like they went through the gravel trap. So that's going to move them back a little bit.
Yeah, and Larry, we had discussed how difficult it was to go side by side through some of these chicanes. Very, very tight. And the racers doing everything they can to straighten them out as much as possible here. So some big changes there up at the front as we watch Mike Dam behind his teammate Leo Dragota with Eric Violette, the championship leader, directly behind.
Yeah, it's a good start here for Dragota, as well as Bennett, to try and close the gap. But Schmeichler, really the class of the field here, took that pole position. He just started pulling away with all the action behind him. He's been able to pull away by almost a second and a half.
And Larry, let's jump over to our LMP3 race here, because the racer we see all by himself, that is Tyler King, and he is not by himself in the lead, as he's done so many times this season, where he has won, I believe, 12 out of 14 times already, or probably 10 out of 14 times. Tyler King goes off. He is now sitting 5th here in the field. And Larry, who does that leave as our leader? It is the D2D number 88 LMP3 Ligier of Bobby Childs. It's Jake Zito, who had just run the fastest lap of the race so far. Looks like he went in a really straight line, the chicane there. And we'll see if he gets an off track. There are a lot of places to get slowdown penalties here with these chicanes.
Yeah, well, remember at the start of this race, Bobby actually backed out. I think he might have been alongside Josh Vidal for a moment there. He backed out with issues happening now to Vidal and Zito. Bobby Childs taking advantage of by just being clean at the stage, as well as, of course, Tyler King. So that's what Bobby's doing now, is just being the clean machine. See if he can do this for another 31.5 minutes.
There he goes. We complete lap number 3. Bobby Childs is your leader in LMP3. We'll check back in with the GT4 racers here as we take a look at Brian Bennett, who is currently sitting 2nd overall, currently holding off a charging Leo Dragota. And, Bennett, Larry, has had issues with cold tires in that Porsche in many of the rounds. And I think as we've gotten towards the back half of the season here, he is, I think, learned to temper his attacks on the opening lap or the opening 2 laps. Yeah. And although he doesn't have the pace of the McLaren, he's doing quite well.
He was having a good run there until that last chicane. Looks like he got a little bit deep on the first part of it. And you can see here, Leo Dragota trying to use the draft on the front straightaway, tried to go to the inside, but just not quite long enough to make the pass. And Bennett to a good car position to sort of hold the middle of the track. You see how wide the track is down here around this turn 2, turn 3 complex, but you really can't take advantage of it unless you got inside at 1. So at this point, all that Dragota could do is just sort of fall back in line and see if he can catch Bennett somewhere else.
Yeah, indeed. And, here over at turn 4, where it's actually an increasing radius turn, you'll notice right as that you come out of that corner, Larry, and go on to this fairly long back straight heading into the Klein chicane, the track starts to narrow down. And is quite a bit more narrow, but you can also see there are a lot of the drivers using the gravel trap there as an exit. That is actually one place you put a couple of wheels in the gravel trap, you don't get a slowdown penalty, you don't even get any incident points there.
Yeah, well, one of those going wide there was Chris Klimovich, but able to keep his foot in it and keep going. He's in the red and black Porsche there, just 2 cars in front of the one we're looking at here with Jeff Jacobs. In fact, there is Jacobs, and then in front of Jacob, of course, Stephen May, and then Chris Klimovich. That little threesome right there with John Casey, I think, right behind them.
As we jump back into the battle for second here, coming out of the final chicane to complete lap number 4. And at the moment, it's a great advantage there that Schwenkler has. Again, Violet was our fastest driver here during the week in practice, but certainly in qualifying had his issues where it's had to start in 6th position. Violet now, who we're on board with, has moved up to 5th as Alex Brown has now dropped a couple of spots in his Eagle Beavers Mercedes back to 6th.
Yeah, it's good. Conservative start, but effective for Eric Violette. Managed to pick up a couple spots there. We did say perhaps he'd be hurt by the 6th qualifying result, but seems to be taking advantage of it now as we now check in on John Sterling. He's in a bit of a battle there with Tom Jenkins. Jenkins, of course, in the midfield motorsports BMW, and then the Eagle Beaver flying proud on the side of John Sterling's Sentry.
And watching them through the chicane there, Larry, the Mercedes just seems to soak up those sausage curbs on the Apex much more so than the BMW.
Yeah, he's clearly using a lot more of those, and knowing that the car handles them so much better. You watch the BMW of Jenkins; he's just avoiding those,
which
but not
severely
Sterling.
hurts exit speed. And
yeah,
we'll see as he goes through here.
And
gets
a good exit here as well.
All right, John, as we're watching this, why don't we take a look real quick here at the point standings now after 7 is it 7 rounds? After 7 rounds, with our last one being at Sebring International. And in GT4 Pro, Eric Violette, who is currently running in 5th position, he is your championship leader, and he's got a little bit of breathing room here tonight, Larry. Not only has he opened up his championship lead to 33 points coming into the evening, but Travis Schwenke from Orion Race Team is not here, my understanding, and I give him a pass on this one, Larry. My understanding is it's his mom's 80th birthday tonight, and or today, and so the Schwenkes are out celebrating. But his teammate Leo Dragota only 2 points back from there, but still a bit of a buffer there for Eric Violette that he just needs to run. I think at this point, run clean here, and he should be in good stead.
Oh, no.
And speaking of which,
That's
another
Robert
one
Hartley
of our Orion racers, Robert Hartley, having some issues, Larry.
Yeah, had himself a bit of a spin there. Maybe we'll catch a quick replay of this. There we go. So all by himself, catch a little dirt there on the entry, but really it's those curves we talk about. The BMWs do not handle them as well, and there's a prime example for Hartley. That second bounce across those sausage curbs really sent him flying. Didn't hit anything, but this guy, well, that would be in there. That's Tyler King in pit lane.
All right, let's take. Yep, we'll take a look at and. Oof.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all I can say is oof. There is.
Yeah, actually, it was Josh Vidal. Actually, I think in the pits, but Tyler, of course, had the issue we just saw in the replay. So.
Yeah, indeed, Josh Vidal now on the pit lane, as is Chris Thorman. Yeah, that's the second big incident. It's the second big incident for Tyler King. This one not necessarily self-induced. We'll see if anything comes of that from the stewards. But all the while, Larry, that has allowed Bobby Childs here, as he's working his way through GT4 traffic now, to open up a little bit less than a 4-second advantage over Jake Zito. And I think the question here is going to be, one of how consistent can Bobby be as he tries to work his way through this GT4 traffic?
And so far, you can see him being a little conservative there. Decided not to push past the GT4s going into that the primary chicane, and instead waited till after. That does give up a little bit of time, but you can see Zito in second place there, now 4 seconds back, and having further issues. Look at that. Bobby's getting lucky as it goes. Zito now suffering from more off issues down there around, I want to say that was down around turn 7?
7, I believe. Yeah, I was going to say coming up to the double right-hander. Yeah, indeed. Yeah, so that now allows Bobby Childs to open up now almost an 8-second advantage on the rest of the field. Tyler King, though, has gotten around Marlon Jones, so move him up to 3rd. And I guess we could take a look at the point standings here in LMP3, Larry, as Tyler King has won. And I had it right the first time. He's won 12 out of the 14 races so far this season, and has a 30-point advantage over Jim Pfeiffer, who is not here this evening. Only 3 points back from Pfeiffer, though, running second in the championship. Phantom Power is Josh Vidal. And obviously Vidal not going to he's going to have a little trouble improving on that from the pit lane with Adam Johnson from the Wrong Stuff, who is he's sitting fourth, and again, Johnson not here this evening.
Well, Tyler on a recovery here, sitting in third. Again, points probably not a big deal for him, as he's, as you mentioned, 12 out of 14 rounds. He's been very successful. May not need a points result here to clinch the championship, but he certainly wants a pride run, as he's working his way back through the pack now, still about 11 seconds back from Jake Cito for second.
All right, and there we go. As we watch the two Porsches, we've got Dan Carrillo, who's running 7th in pro, but directly behind him in that gray Porsche Cayman, that is David Klimovich, and stand-up Klim Club. David Klimovich, currently your leader in AM, running 8th overall in GT4, but he's got to be careful there. He's got Lucas Dragota in the 119 Mercedes directly behind Lucas, your current championship leader in GT4 AM. And he's got a 90-point advantage, Larry, over the rest of the AM field.
Probably could throw those points up there now, couldn't we?
Yeah, I guess we could. Yeah, let's throw them up there. And I think a big difference from where we were just a season ago, Larry, where Dragota came into the final round, I believe, with a 2-point advantage on the field, and with just a lap to go, ended up put the car into a wall just a couple corners short of the checkered flag, and ended up losing out on the championship. Taking the championship win was Zach Mosley.
Well, Lucas coming in with a 90-point advantage tonight, just wanted to make sure that there was never any doubt. I think that's probably the case at this point, but he's racing hard enough now. You can see he wants even the class win if he can get around David Klimovich, who are both then, Jason, as you mentioned, Dan Carrillo, and another Porsche.
As Tyler King sits and stalks behind this field here, takes a quick look to the inside. He goes, oh, another one of those chicanes. Let me get back in line. We'll see if he can make his way past. And, well, he and David Klimovich almost had a little coming together there, coming onto the front straight. As,
a little
Klimovich,
miscommunication to which way they should go. And Klimovich for a moment thought about going to the right, but so did King. But it's all sorted out just fine. So close. We couldn't have sadness in the Klim Club.
No.
Look at this, though. Lovato and Weston battling it out. It's currently the battle for third in GT4 AM.
For a moment, it looked like there was just one car there, Larry.
Oh, no. That's Lucas Dragota. That's at that chicane that we were just waiting for this battle of Lovato to come through. What happened to Lucas?
Wrong direction, and Larry, is this
there's
where...
a whole lot of wrong going on there.
Is this where Greg gets lambasted and flamed for invoking the announcer's curse? Let's take a look.
Yeah. Well, it's those curbs. Can't take them that hot. Mercedes does well over them, but it doesn't do well enough where you can just straight line them.
Yeah, I was going to say it seems to do well when you only put the right side wheels over them, not all four wheels over them.
Yeah, well, what that does is it helps your current AM leader, David Klimovich, hold his lead much more strongly now, because the battle between Lovato and Weston now moves up to be the battle for second, but they're 6 or 7 seconds behind Klimovich, who right now is pushing Dan Carrillo for 8th overall on the track. And what we haven't talked about is the transfer spot, because we're doing 2 35-minute sprints tonight.
That's right.
The end of the first one will dictate the starting order of the second, with the inverse of the top 10 across all the GT4s. Currently, that's the first 7 in GT4 Pro, and the next 3 that are currently in GT4 AM, David Klimovich, Chuck Lovato, and Neil Weston, leaving John Sterling right now on the outlook in it. But as we know, we've been calling these every other week for the last 3 months or so. Anything can change, and John Casey may be one of those who wanted to change, but it's not going in his favor as he spins coming off of turn 1. And now Lovato and Weston seem to have a little bit of daylight between them on not sure if that was the Lucas Dragotta spin that maybe Weston backed off for.
Yeah, although I had just seen and I don't know what happened there, where it looked like Lobano might have lost some internet connectivity briefly, and then he reappeared.
Okay.
And I think what you may have seen is you might have seen Weston just backing out because he didn't know where Lobano would reappear.
Yeah, smart move. You don't want to have somebody reappear inside of you. Oh no, and that's a Klimovich there. That's Chris Klimovich with a loose hood, suspecting front end damage on that Porsche.
All right, let's take a look and see what happened to the Cayman here.
Good so far. Gets a little bit of that exit dirt.
Until it
Noses
doesn't.
into the wall.
Yeah,
Down
good
there
thing the engine's in the back, Larry.
Yeah. Well.
And look at this. It's Iron Man Bobby Childs, which means that the announcer's curse is going to come out within a lap or so.
We're just going to check in with Bobby, see how he's doing, make no comment. But it's Bobby. Fans like to see what he's doing.
Speaking of which, welcome to the chat, Stubby and Multi Yapples, who is here once again with his iconic Larry. It is the iconic good race.
Gotta have one. But the entire Clim Club online tonight. We've got Christine, we've got Carmen, we've got Doug. So we've got plenty of representation in the Clim Club on the chat. Appreciate that.
Marlon Jones taking to the pit lane, Larry, in his LMP3 Ligier.
Glad he's not in the chat, but he's actually on the racetrack tonight.
Yes.
He's been able to watch in on the other series on alternating weeks. All right, well, must not be too much damage there for Chris Klimovich, as he seems to be doing all right. Slotted back in there behind Stephen May. Right in front of the 199 of Chad Sebring. That was a pretty good impact and not have any massive damage, but
yeah.
Let's see what his straight line speed looks like.
As we jump back, this is the battle for third in GT4 Pro, and it is Leo Dragotta, Mike Dam, Eric Violet, all in a row, working at lap number 13. And all the while, this has given Brian Bennett a little bit of an opportunity to stretch his Porsche's legs, and he's now opened up about a 2-second advantage on the Orion BMWs behind.
Watching the onboard of Mike Dam as both he and Leo over these curves and the chicanes, bouncing them, use their hands to catch the car. That's a lot of work in these BMWs. You see a little tail wag coming out of the back of Dragotta in front of him, and that's where Chris Klimovich lost it. Looks like it's really easy to do, to catch a little bit of that dirt on the exit. Eric Violet just sitting back with his massive points lead, saying, fifth place is just fine with me. I don't need to push this, guys.
Just don't spin right in front of me.
You can send it to commentatorscurse@ginsburg.org.
Yeah, I know. Let's see how much of the field I can take out with my words tonight, Larry.
The 5G effect is strong tonight.
That's right. Coming to a cell tower near you.
What has happened though, Schwenkler really from the beginning of this thing has kind of put a stamp on this and just took off. Bennett has done a great job in the Porsche pulling away from the battle for third. So these two are trying to leave no doubt in their positions. I don't know that Bennett's going to have tires or if Schwenkler's going to give him any opportunity to be caught. We'll keep our eyes on that. But I tell you, Bennett's done a fantastic job to shake the group behind him, because that's three tough names there between Dragotta, Dam, and Violet.
Whoa.
Yeah. The BMWs look the worst through that.
And again, after our first race, we will invert the top 10 finishers in GT4. And in LMP3, and Larry, I don't know how we work this out, we invert the top half. But once again, we only have 5 drivers.
Yeah.
And more importantly, two of them have been in the pits for quite some time.
Yeah. So it might be a top 3 invert. All right, well, look at this train, though, here. As we saw Rob Hartley have his issue earlier with a spin, he came back on right in front of this group. That is, of course, Dale Maxwell, and spinning right there behind him. That's Sebring?
I think, Larry, that was Chad Sebring facing counter race.
Yeah. There's Sebring in the foreground there, right in front of this battle. Let's see what he does going through the back straight chicane.
Well, he had the rear end stepping out on him already, just a turn in on the left-hand portion there. And, same thing that we've seen so many times so far tonight is just getting a lot of that curbing on the inside of the right-hand portion of the chicane.
All right, well, what we do have forming here is if you see those LP3s coming through, that is Jake Zito and Tyler King. That is the battle for second. Now it's just a little bit of traffic between them. There's King, your points leader, of course, had the spin earlier that put him down the order, but his pace has been pretty strong. He's taken a couple seconds out of Bobby Child's overall lead, but what he has done is he's closed in. You can see just a glimpse of Jake Zito around the next corner. There he is right in front of Tyler.
And for the second time, Larry, as we tonight as we watch Tyler King come out of the final chicane onto the front straight, he almost had a Porsche come right across his bow once again. I think that time it was Dan Carrillo who's just now gotten around. Carrillo has just gotten around David Klimovich.
All right. Well, speaking of Klimovich, there's a David Klimovich right there alongside Dan Carrillo. I think Klimovich has the advantage as they come out of turn 8, out of that hairpin, but Carrillo gets a good exit. Alex Brown right behind them. Look at Carrillo's exit there. That was fantastic. Oh, a little hip check there to Klimovich, and he's going to go off and spin, I believe.
Yeah, Klimovich ended up, I think, waited a little bit too long on the braking, Larry. I think had designs on going side by side with Carrillo into the final chicane.
Yeah. Well, let's look at this aerial shot. You see if Klimovich gets a little bit of Carrillo hip check under braking. Carrillo brakes early and probably thought he was far enough ahead. I think Klimovich got on the brakes late. He really put himself in that position because Carrillo was already braking for the corner. Let's see what Carrillo can do now, not under pressure as much, though he does still have Alex Brown, the Canadian, in the Mercedes behind him.
We're giving the Klim Club jury a lot of work to do tonight, Larry. I just don't know if our stewards are going to be taking up the same workload.
Do you want to answer Brendan Kennedy's question in the chat? He must have missed your intro.
Where is this Zolder racecourse located? This Zolder racecourse is located in Belgium. It is about a little bit over an hour's drive northwest of Spa-Francorchamps.
There you go. I think I defer to you. You've done all the research on this track.
Yeah.
I just know it's somewhere in North Central Europe.
Just don't ask me which corner Gilles Villeneuve got into his final corner.
I don't remember which one that was. There's a couple of famous Formula One incidents that took place, unfortunately, at this track.
Exactly.
Yeah.
As he came together with Jochen Mass back in '82. And interestingly enough, Zolder, which had been the site of the Belgian Grand Prix up until 1982, actually went to Spa the following year, 1983.
And that was the year they shortened Spa, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. And a lot of it was also so that they could do track reconfigurations here at Zolder. Again, this was after the big Gilles Villeneuve incident that took his life. They came back to Zolder in '84, and that was the last time the Belgian Grand Prix was held at Zolder. It had been at Spa ever since.
Yeah. And that was the incident where, if I recall, Senna jumped out of his car to help another driver.
Yes.
It was during that '84. I think Senna was probably still with Lotus at that point.
Yeah,
All right, well, we do have a battle on our hands, and that is an LMP3 for second place. Tyler King has caught the back of Jake Zito in traffic now as they've got Lobano and Klimovich right in front of the Carrillo and Alex Brown.
Carrillo and
My apologies.
exactly.
Yep. And let's see
Now
here
it's
if
great.
Tyler King can make a move as they're going to try and get through this traffic.
And interestingly enough, Larry, a couple turns back, just saw the rear end of Tyler King's car step out quite a bit, and that was going into the hairpin over at turn 8. Had a lot of trouble getting the power down, but we'll see here as he comes onto the front straight, tries to pull up alongside of Zito, and we'll see here as King try for a moment there. Looked like he was going to go through turn 1 side by side. And that turn 1 is one that you really want to try and open up the entrance to as much as possible. It's a decreasing radius turn, and if you enter from the center of the track, you can find yourself running out of room on exit pretty quickly, which Zito didn't have a problem doing. Let's take a look here as they come into the Klein chicane at the end of the back straight. Big brake lock up going into the chicane up at 7. And around goes Zito. And Larry, we're jumping back over. Brian Bennett has been running such a consistent race. Let's take a look, because I'm getting word that he may have had some issues there, and indeed he does. Drops a wheel. And I believe this was coming into the final corners, coming into actually I guess it was coming out of the hairpin and going into Rennsport, but that will drop Brian Bennett now out of second place in GT4 Pro and drop him to 5th position, slotted in between Eric Violette and Dan Carrillo. That now moves Leo Dragota and Mike Dam up into podium positions. Dragota 2nd, Dam in 3rd, and now sitting in 4th position is the Aston Martin of Eric Violette. As we've
that is certainly big.
Just about 5 minutes remaining.
Yes, Dragota came in as the closest possible challenger tonight, of course, with no Travis Schwenke, celebrating his mother's 80th birthday. If you're not here tonight, Leo becomes the next potential challenger, as Mike Dam also in the 4th spot in the points. So those guys picking up a place there ahead of Bennett now helps them both potentially move closer to Eric Violette, your points leader, but Violette continues to just sit right behind these guys and collect a pretty good number of points himself to try and secure this championship.
All right, Larry, let's take a look at that sequence where we had Tyler King and Jake Zito, that they had gone practically side by side for a good portion of a lap. Well, I wanted to see if there was any contact between the two.
There was. At the exit of the chicane, Zito looks like he may have got brake lock up going to the first part of the chicane.
He did.
He then cut the apex at the second. That might have led to King getting a better run and ultimately getting to the back of him. We'll see if the steward's going to take a look at that.
As a matter of fact, I think the first angle that we had when we saw it in real time, Larry, there was quite a bit of brake lock up in the right front from Jake Zito, and I think that might have affected his exit speed going into the second portion of the chicane. All right, Larry, now 4 minutes remaining here in our first of 2 races this evening. This is the season finale of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech miniMite Challenge. And we, of course, want to thank Ricmotech, who is going to be providing $100 in Ricmobucks to be given away here at the end of the evening in a random drawing. And Ricmobucks can be spent on purchases at ricmotech.com. So good luck to all of the drivers here this evening.
All right, well, the stewards, very likely, of course, Ryan Cobb, our pre-race interviewee, reviewed the incident there between Tyler King and Jake Zito and has ruled that there is no further action to be taken.
Maybe he saw the same thing that we saw.
Yeah, a little bit of the brake lock up, the awkward run through the chicane, lack of exit speed. Really, King had nowhere to go.
Oh, and having a lot of issues here towards the end of the race, Larry. Mike Dam with very poor exit speed. That is going to put Eric Violette now up in the 3rd position.
Well, that's going to help Eric, of course, in the championship fight to be able to pull ahead one of his near rivals. That's going to help him a bunch. I don't know if there's enough time left, though, to catch Leo Dragotta without something happening to Leo. There's about a second and a half between them. We'll see. We've seen crazier things in these mini-mite series races.
Yes, we have. All right, as they come into turns 8 and with the quick chicane over at 9. Or am I a couple turns? I'm a couple turns early. That's what I said. You can see all the steering correction that Dragotta had to dial in there out of the final chicane to get the front end straightened back up as Bobby Childs comes across the line, Larry, and with a little bit under 2 minutes remaining, should be 2 laps remaining here.
I would believe so, yeah.
For the 88 car. All right, Larry, let's take a look, because we've got another change here in the fight for a podium position in race number 1. As Eric Violette looks like he got a slowdown penalty coming out of the chicane there, and he had to let Mike Dam by.
Yeah, that's the way this place is. It ain't over till it's over, as they say, and he's going to have to make that pass again. But now, of course, he's got Bennett right behind him, who would like to get back up past all 3 of these guys. After the incident earlier took him out of that second place. With 2 laps to go, it's going to take a heck of an effort for Bennett to get by these 2 spots and put this thing up onto a podium, but we've seen stranger things.
That is our GT4 AM leader, Larry, and he's run a nice, consistent race so far, sitting right back behind the Eagle Beavers Mercedes of Alex Brown. And here we go, coming to the white flag, Larry. 1 more lap, 2.5 miles to go for Bobby Childs. A lot of pressure on Bobby here to come away with what will be his very first race win of the season.
We had a good result in the other series, but I think here in mini-mite, he's looking to try and claim this first one. He's being awfully cautious with that 10-second lead. Doesn't need to really push anything. That car behind him is a lap down. No real pressure at this point. Tyler King is his nearest rival.
Our GT4 leaders starting their final lap. This is the battle for 3rd between Mike Dam and championship leader Eric Violette. And Larry, it looked as though as they came into turn 1 that perhaps Violette decided, yeah, maybe now's a good time for me to back out of this.
And there was a Brian Bennett with them the last time we saw them going through turn 2. He must have had a big off. He's now 8 seconds back from them, but let's talk about this guy first. Bobby Childs getting victory. He does it. Gets a win here in the first race tonight at Zolder. Great job for Bobby in LMP3.
And he keeps it off the walls on the front straight after the checkered flag, Larry. That is good to see. There you go. So taking the win in LMP3, Bobby Childs. Tyler King fights his way back to 2nd. And Jake Zito should finish this race in 3rd. In GT4 Pro, Robert Schwenkler, who has led from the drop of the green flag. He has just a few more corners remaining here as he comes down out of the hairpin, and he's going to be heading to Jackie Ixbach here. The final chicane leading onto the front straight, and Robert Schwenkler, he will take the win in race number 1. Here from Zolder. Congratulations to him and the wrong stuff. And we'll just have to look here as it looks like all of our racers directly behind have had some challenges here in the last couple of laps, Larry. We will watch here. This is the battle for not a battle for the lead, but this is our leader in GT4 AM, and David Klimovich will take the win. Chuck Lobano should finish second. He's coming out of the final chicane now, with Neil Weston finishing third. And if we look back at GT4 Pro, it was Robert Schwenkler, Leo Dragotta, and Mike Dam, your top three. And again, what we will be doing is we'll be inverting our top 10 finishers in GT4, regardless of Pro or AM. For race number 2, we will be inverting the top half of our LMP3 field. But Larry, let's do this. Let's take a quick break. We'll thank some of our partners and sponsors. And when we come back, race number 2 here from Zolder, where you're watching the season finale of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech miniMite Sports Car Challenge here on Apex Racing TV. We'll be right back.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name-brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
The SCCA Foundation is a 501c3 organization serving as the charitable arm of the Sports Car Club of America. One of the programs partially funded by the foundation is the SCCA Academy, an online learning management system used to keep real-life racing track officials up to date on the highest standards of race safety and officiating. Through this program, the SCCA Foundation is supporting the future of the best-trained corner workers and event officials in motorsport. You can support these efforts at www.sccafoundation.org.
The search is over. The most comprehensive league scoring solution is here, with the ability for multi-level championships, custom incident tracking, post-race time penalties, support for heats, drop weeks display, multi-car team scoring, advanced web widgets, rookie championships, a custom paint system, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
And welcome back, everybody, to the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech miniMite Sports Car Challenge here on Apex Racing TV. It is round number 8. It is the final round of season number 11. And as we're watching here, we've got a bit of a warm-up session going on right now. And we see Brian Bennett, who's one of the few drivers out on course right now, looking to maybe get a little bit better handle on some of the chicanes that caused him problems in race number 1. Eric Violette out as well. And we'll be getting underway with race number 2 here in just a few moments. But Larry, as things are winding down on season number, what we say this is, season 7. Let's take a look at what we've got coming up in the next couple of weeks, because no peace for the weary. Next week, next Monday night, is going to be the Ricmotech World Challenge season 11, finale at Daytona, and then we start up all over again. Have a couple weeks off for Christmas and for New Year's, but the miniMite Sports Car Challenge season number 8 is right around the corner. Going to be starting up Monday night, January 6th, and if you want If you want to be on the grid with these racers, registration is open now. For current drivers, new drivers that have not raced with the series before, registration will be opening up December 16th, so just about a week from now. To find out more information and to register, go to xmsracing.com/series/MSC. And for the Ricmotech World Challenge, season number 12 will be starting up January 13th. And don't have the locations yet for the opening rounds of these two series, but also registration for the World Challenge will be opening up on December 16th. And if you go to xmsracing.com/series/RWC for Ricmotech World Challenge, you can get more information. And I know we've been touting the Touring Car Cup, Larry. We've gotten a little bit more information. The Touring Car Cup, which is for our Mazda MX-5 Cup and Toyota GR86 Cup cars, will be starting with their next season. I think it's season 22 or 23, April 28th.
Okay.
All right, so the warm-up has now finished, and Larry, you know what this means? It means we should be playing that like the Mexican hat dance music or something, as as all of our drivers now
And to do the grid
are
dance.
going to be moving around for our inverted field that iRacing doesn't do automatically.
Yeah. I guess there's ways to make it work, but it's very difficult. It gets finicky, so this is the easiest way. But what I can tell you, I can look at the results. We know the top 10 of all the GT4s blended will get inverted. So let's take a look at those GT4s, see who's in 10th, and work our way back. We can say, I believe, 6, 7, 8, 10, I believe it's going to be Neil Weston is going to be on the pole tonight for the GT4 second race. He's out of the AM category. He'll be lined up alongside Chuck Labano, his nearest rival there in the AM class. And then David Klimovich will be on the inside of row number 2 alongside Alex Brown. Row 3 should be Dan Carrito and Brian Bennett. Row 4, Eric Violet with Mike Dam. And then row 5, Leo Jagoda and your opening round tonight winner, Robert Schwenkler. That's your front 5 rows. And then behind them, it should be John Sterling, Jeff Jacobs, Robert Hartley, Stephen May, Dale Maxwell, Tom Jenkins, Chad Sebring, Chris Klimovich, John Casey, Greg Brockway, Russ Ruddock, Lucas Dragoda, and if he reconnects, which I don't know that he will, Chris Thorman.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, we'll see Josh Vidal and Marlon Jones, who are sitting at the tail end of the field right now. We should see them start to work their way up. And we believe the starting grid for our LMP3s will be Jake Zito, Tyler King, Bobby Childs, and then Josh Vidal and Marlon Jones.
Of course, Marlon did eventually jump into the chat. We were saying earlier he's normally in the chat for his off nights. Well, he actually got into the chat at the end of this first round because things didn't go to plan, but hopefully he's back in the car here for the second round tonight. I do see what looks like, I think Greg Brockway may be in the pits.
Yep, and it looks as though Chris Thorman may have
disconnected
checked out as well.
he didn't continue at the end of the first race. But with one starting from the pits there with Brockway, he'll start behind the entire field and get his own green flag. But what we do know is that guy right there, Neil Weston, should be our pole sitter from the M category with Labano next to him. See the two of them there. And then behind them, Klimovich and Brown. Brown being the highest of the pro class on this grid. Well, we'll see how this goes.
As our steward is giving the man for drivers to slow down coming through turn 1, Larry, as we just about had our first wreck of the race before the green flag ever flies.
Well, it'll be interesting. I'd like to watch Robert Schwenkler, see how he manages this race, because he had so much better pace than everybody else in the GT4 category in that first round. But now starting on the outside of row 5, he's got his work cut out for him if he wants to show that pace. He's got to work through some traffic through there. Bennett was also nearly equally as quick. He'll be right in the middle of this pack starting this race, there on somewhere around the outside of row 3. Bennett also has got to work through the traffic. See if the Bennett and Schwenkler show their pace again, or do they have struggles getting through the pack?
Exactly, Larry, and that's one of the things that I was going to be looking for here is how Brian Bennett deals with. Again, we've talked about where that Porsche has had some issues lighting the rear tires up, and he's had some challenges early on in races. If he feels the need, because he has had incredibly good pace in race 1, the need to stand on it here early on. Of course, he's going to be starting just on row number 2 as opposed to the front row where he started the first race, but this could present some problems for him, especially if he's challenged early on by Mike Dam and Eric Violet behind.
Well, it'll be an interesting start for sure, as these inverted grids often are. We'll see how these guys manage it, and they just got to keep an eye on Eric Violet, who I think is starting alongside Bennett. And so we'll see. He was very conservative in that first race. See if he plays the same game here. A little dark and overcast here at Zolder. We get to be late in the day.
Of course, Belgium a little on the north-ish side of Central Europe, and this race, the first race, I think was scheduled the equivalent of about 3:34 in the afternoon.
Yeah,
and
it's
so
currently 4:10 p.m. local Zolder time here in the sim.
Yeah, so starting to get a little dark here as our LMP3 racers are now making their way through the final chicane and onto the front straight. And our live steward and starter gives the green flag command, and we're underway once again here at Zolder for the final race of season number 7 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech miniMite Sports Car Challenge. By the time I finish saying that, Larry, almost an entire lap
King
is
goes
done.
wide.
As we see Tyler King run wide through the first corner. Once again, he has some issues early on in race number 2, as he did in race number 1. That moves Jake Zito to the lead with Bobby Childs second, as our GT4 racers get the green flag, and as they come through turn 1, switch over to the double apex right-hander. It is Chuck Lobato and Neil Weston with Alex Brown and David Klimovich. And Brian Bennett side by side with Klimovich, Larry, as they come through the right-hander, and it looks like he now manages to hold off his fellow Porsche driver, currently sitting in
we got
fourth
some
position.
spinning. That's a big one.
Oh, and it,
That's
wow,
Schwenkler.
and Larry, looks like Schwenkler was involved indeed.
Lucas
Dragotta involved.
Wow,
looks like Dan Carrillo was in there as well.
I see Rob Hartley and one of the Orions. May have been several Orions involved
there. I
there.
think Leo Dragotta was involved in that as well, Larry.
Wow. I think
Chris
they're going to go full
Klimovich.
course yellow here. Yeah, full course yellow. That was huge. Well, we were talking about the aggressiveness and who would have it, who didn't. Schwenkler, we'll have to check the replay in a minute, but we saw Bennett doing a great job with his aggressiveness to pick up a couple spots. This happened behind him, though. This was Schwenkler, of course, started on row 5, and the entire field kind of got balled up behind. Let's see what the replay shows. The course is
we'll check in
happening
here as it's ahead. It looks like the two Orion cars up there, and possibly Schwenkler might have.
Let's keep our eyes on Mike Dam. He's on the right, Carrillo on the left. Contact there a little bit. Schwenkler right behind them. It's Dam, though, that might have gone wide, but Carrillo may have actually been the one that caused the issue. We're going to get one more look at it. It's Carrillo on the left, the black, orange, silver Porsche. A little bit wide after the tap, but I think he never quite controlled it.
You see the rear end step out on Carrillo, and Schwenkler just gets collected.
Yeah, Violet just makes it through, but that was about the last one before the field all bunches up. And it looked like Carrillo had that contact, but that didn't seem like it really did much. He just never really recovered.
All right, so if we reset the field here, and we are under full course caution at the moment. In LMP3, it's Jake Zito and Bobby Childs with Josh Vidal third. In GT4, Chuck Labano is your leader. He got around Neil Weston with Alex Brown third, Brian Bennett fourth. And in AM, it's Labano, Weston, and Klimovich. In Pro, it's here. Brown, Bennett, and Dam.
Yeah, on board here with Violet. He makes it through, but watch, just barely. Misses Schwenkler there. Carrito in the first one, and somehow, some way, Violet squeaks through to keep his race alive, trying to win this championship. But you can see that pit lane just looks like a carnage yard right now. Meanwhile,
so we have Schwenkler and Hartley in the pits. We've got Leo Dragota, Tom Jenkins, and Lucas Dragota in the pits. And I'm trying to determine what the story is with Greg Brockway, because, Larry, it looked like Brockway was kind of sort of caught up at the tail end of that incident as well after coming out of the pits. But
yeah, because remember, he started from the pits.
Exactly.
Well, let's see what this does. There's the initial contact. There's Schwenkler behind, just thinking everything's good, but Carrito just never quite recovered, and eventually he takes out Schwenkler. And then the traffic jam just gets worse from there. That's a big one. On board here with Leo Dragota. And yeah, there's nowhere to go.
Nowhere to go.
Going to be some penalties doled out here in a little bit as the marshals take a look at some things.
Honestly, Larry, I don't know if they're going to find much there, given.
They'll take a look at some things. And then we'll see.
I think, like you said, I don't think that that contact between Dam and Carrito really led to the incident there. But
what the stewards have done is they've made it now one lap to green. So as you can see, the
lights are out of the pace car.
Lights are out of the pace car. They just went through turn 2, so it'll be a minute. But we'll do another split start. LMP3s will be in their order as you can see them. And
this will be a single file restart, Larry.
Yep. So yeah, you got Jake Zeno leading the way there in LMP3, and then of course your GT4s with Chuck Labano leading that pack there.
All right, and so Dan Carrito has just now made his way to the pits. Amazingly, Larry, he was able to complete an entire lap behind the pace car. He's actually a lap up on the other drivers that were involved in that incident.
Well, when this resumes, you can see the clock continues to run. We'll be somewhere getting close to probably the 8th or 9th minute of the 35 here in the second round tonight.
All right, and Larry, big difference here on the single file restart behind the safety car here. Whereas for a race start, the double file starts, we do have a start zone. And while the racers can start to accelerate in that zone, they are not allowed to make passes until they get to the start-finish line. Here, as soon as the green flag comes out, they are racing. They can make passes on that front straight. They don't have to wait to the start-finish line.
So we'll see who can get the good jump here and see if anybody in LMP3 takes a step out or if they're going to be the ones playing it cautious. Of course, you see right there, Zito, Bobby Childs, a round 1 winner tonight. Tyler King had the off in turn 1, and despite starting on the front row, but didn't hurt him much. You can see he's right there in the hunt in this group. One more chicane to go, and then we'll see green. The GT4s, though, maybe getting a second green unless they've instructed them to go on the green with LMP3s.
No, they should be getting I believe they're getting a second green. All right. And there we go. Green flag is in the air. And actually, Larry, I think there's just going to be a single green for all of our racers as Jake Zito is going to lead the LMP3 field down the front straight, jumping to the inside. looking to make a move on Bobby Childs is Josh Vidal, and Vidal goes around.
Yeah.
Don't know if there was contact between he and Tyler King or not, but Vidal now sitting 5th in LMP3 as our GT4 racers now come down into turn 1, and it's Chuck Labano in the Frito Sport Mercedes. He leads Neil Weston as David Klimovich got around Bennett, and then Bennett we saw head to the grass, and Bennett's now dropped back into, I think, 6th position.
Oh, he's got him kicking himself. That starting position for this restart up there in the 4th was a great place for him. Unfortunately, not to go. Let's take a look at this. This will be Josh Vidal and Tyler King and Bobby Childs. Vidal down the inside. He actually gets into Bobby, and Bobby doesn't move, but Vidal's the one that takes it.
Yeah, so King not involved in any way. Let's take a look at the GT4s. Focus on Brian Bennett there in the white Sector 5 Porsche Cayman. And
Labano, sorry, not Labano. It's one of
that was Alex
Eagle
Brown.
Beavers.
The Eagle Beaver machine had the rear end step out on him.
Yeah, so really nowhere for Bennett to go on that instance. Meanwhile, headlights
and
are on.
We had John Sterling's Eagle Beaver machine come up the inside.
Yeah.
All right.
More incidents to cover. Sounds like Jeff Jacobs may have had a problem. Let's take a look. There's Jacobs in the BMW.
And he was right, and there we had the, he might have gotten caught up when, well, no, guess he did it all on his own.
Everyone seems to get around him pretty well. That's a lot of damage, though, to that BMW. Meanwhile, Zito's opened up a lead. Bobby may have had an issue. We're going to have to see how this went.
Yeah, we had Bobby Childs right ahead of Tyler King a moment ago. Let's take a look as King was pressuring the 88 car quite a bit as they come out of the final corners there. And
Bobby lost it there between 2 and 3. Got the back end out, and Tyler just had no place to go. Tyler continues. Bobby spins. Bobby has also continued, so it's not over there yet. But let's get back to the Porsche on Porsche battle going. It's Weston and Klimovich, the battle for the AM second place, because Chuck Labano still has the AM lead right now, leading this entire field of GT4s. In fact, Mike Dam is the highest of the Pro Class drivers now.
Indeed, as he is running 4th overall, and there's Mike Dam sitting right behind the 2 Porsches of Weston and Klimovich. John Sterling sitting 4th in AM, 5th in GT4 with then Alex Brown. So the 2 Eagle Beaver machines have, I guess, gotten that early flight risk out of their blood, and they are making their way through. But the big difference there is that the AM driver in the Mercedes, John Sterling, now ahead of his teammate. Or actually, no, it looks like Alex Brown now has gotten around John Sterling. Yeah, Brown's gotten back around.
Okay. With the headlights on, though, as I said, we said at the start of the second race tonight, it's after 4 o'clock local time there at Zolder, and it's definitely getting dark enough to where everyone's got the headlights on, starting to see the shine on the pavement. So a little bit of odd visibility for them. This is Eric Violet, who managed to get through that pack. Now gets around Stephen May in the McLaren there. And then right in front of them is Brian Bennett. So let's see if Violet can catch up to Bennett. There is Bennett. Chased down a couple of Eagle Beavers there with Sterling and Brown right in front of him. Big run wide there for Chad Sebring too, through that gravel trap. Everybody's really testing their luck with that turn 4 gravel trap.
We'll see. We'll have to see, Larry. I think one of the big changes coming to the next season or the next major release in iRacing, which is rolling out starting tomorrow morning, is how iRacing deals with debris and what happens and what happens when you go into gravel traps, that you can actually bring the gravel right onto the track surface with you, and it can impact the handling characteristics of the cars as well. And it'd be interesting to see how racers deal with that exit.
Yeah, well, Bennett here going to make the move down the inside. There's contact. I think Bennett got aggressive with the second apex. And I
Yeah,
don't
tried to pinch the exit there.
Yeah.
And tried to hold. Who was that? Was that Stephen May?
Sterling, I think. It was John Sterling, and May ends up slipping through, but the Eagle Beaver, I think, was Sterling in there. Of course, Violet and May both slipped by. Take a look at this Russ Ruddock and Chris Klimovich battling it out. I think that's Greg Brockway, who initially started from the pits. He's rejoined the pack here, and he's getting a little racy here with Russ Ruddock and Chris Klimovich.
And speaking of Klimoviches or Klimovici or something like that, there's Mike Dam hustling the number 93 BMW over the curbing with David Klimovich, who is our race 1 winner in GT4 AM, currently sitting 3rd in class, as both Chuck Labano and Neil Weston, running 1st and 2nd, have started to open up a bit of an advantage. And again, we have that pro racer Mike Dam slotted in between. As we jump back and take a look here at Brian Bennett, something tells me he's probably not going to go side by side with Eric Violet through the next chicane.
He may not, but he may also be thinking that was his corner the first time when he went through there with Sterling, and it just didn't quite work out. You never know. He does look like the most aggressive one on the track right now. We know that Eric Violet is not going to be the most aggressive, considering his points stranglehold. So he might just, if Bennett makes a move, don't be surprised if Eric just lets him by.
Yeah, and especially at this point, Larry, with the next closest competitor in GT4 Pro for the championship being Leo Dragota, and Dragota being in the pits right now, not a lot for Eric Violet to fight for here in the final race of the season.
Right. All right, we'll be taking a look at the back of Neil Weston as he's got Mike Dam in that BMW. He's willing to use the curbing there at that chicane. Seem to buy him much. That Porsche does pretty well through those tonight.
Yeah, and especially when you consider the shorter wheelbase of the Porsches, they have been handling those very quick transitions through those chicanes, even with all the curbing, very, very well. As we take a look now.
Oh, wait, that's Bobby spinning right in the foreground there.
Yes.
Bobby spins. We're watching Marlon Jones and Josh Vidal. Jones getting by there. Jones had a rough first round tonight, but trying to make up for it here in the Lead Paw Racing number 25.
Let's see what happens as...
Let's take a look at Bobby as now Jones goes wide down in turn 7. He's going to let Vidal take that spot back.
All right, so let's take a look and see what happened with the 88 car.
All right. Here's Bobby coming up to turn 4. That's a lot of curbing on the Apex, Bobby, and that's exactly what happens. Didn't hit a wall, at least. Good for Bobby there, but that Apex curbing just kind of jostled the car a little bit, took the arrow away, and down he went.
All right, and here we go. Battle for the lead in LMP3. It is Jake Zito and Tyler King. King, who did not have the best first race, and King, who is looking for win number 13 on the season, side by side with Jake Zito and King, coming through that same corner that Bobby Childs had so many issues with. A little bit of fight back now from Zito. Larry.
Yeah, Zito's not giving up here. He's got the outside run. He's going to have a nose advantage there going into that chicane. But look at that. King making a great exit, gets the power down, pulls up alongside as they head to then the next chicane down here in turn 7. That looked like an aggressive course cut there for Zito. We'll see if he has to give that position up. I'm not sure exactly how far in you have to be to pick up a slowdown. That was pretty far.
Yeah, but he hasn't pulled aside yet.
Yeah. All right, so we're keeping an eye on Eric Violet here with Brian Bennett behind, John Sterling in front. Violet may have had his own little off track here, but he's in the middle of the fight. Sterling's got to be fueling the pressure.
just about halfway, actually a little bit more than halfway, through our final race of the evening and of the season. Let's take a look here. Is the 89 car looked like just for a moment he was going to try to sneak underneath the 267 of Sterling.
Meanwhile, Jake Zito, I think. Is it Zito, your race leader, coming through?
That is Zito with Tyler King now going to have to fight his way through 3 and 4 wide traffic.
Right in the middle of this GT4 battle, and King decides to lay up and wait. Now he'll get the run, just opening now a 2-second lead for Zito in that LMP3 as we're just past the halfway point here, 18 minutes into our 35. Let's see if Tyler can make up some ground here on Zito.
Very close. As Mike Dam, who, as we mentioned a couple of laps ago, had split the difference between the two Porsches, Weston and Klimovich, who are running second and third in AM. Mike Dam is your GT4 Pro leader, just hanging all over the back bumper of the number 6 Porsche.
They're doing a good job of using the traffic to his advantage to try and keep a couple cars between he and his rival there, Tyler King. King forced to stick it out behind them now as Dam and Weston are battling for position.
Yeah, and Weston forced to pinch the exit there, Larry, of turn 3 as Tyler King was running around the outside. See as they come down the back straight here and head down to the chicane, turn number 5. Dam's going to hold station for the moment. See there, even though Dam up here, I think, has handled most of these transitions, most of these chicanes with more aplomb than his Orion teammates, you could see where the Porsche, Larry, just by nature hopping over the curb, was able to pick up maybe a half a car length on Dam or extend the lead by half a car length on Dam with just, again, just the way it approaches the corner.
Yeah, the Porsche seems to be able to put that power down once they finish those chicanes. But I tell you what, the Aston's been doing as well as anything, as you can see here. Eric Violette now pressuring the back of that Eagle Beaver of John Sterling. Brian Bennett, though, we don't expect him to be patient for long. He's going to want to make a move. But first, he's going to have to let one of our LMP3s through. That might be Vidal. I think it is.
I think that is Josh Vidal currently running third in the number 26, Ligier. So he's going to go drivers left as our GT4 racers all go and take the traditional line, going drivers right, trying to open up that decreasing radius turn as much as possible.
Well, Mike Dan keeps trying, but there's a Klimovich right on his heels. He's trying to do everything he can. So if Dan makes one move, he's going to be giving up a position to David Klimovich if he doesn't make the pass on Neil Western. This is a serious game of cat and mouse going on here. Not sure who the cats are and who the mice are, but it sounded good when I thought it in my head 2 seconds before saying it. Klimovich, good exit here. A little better than that BMW. Continuing to still struggle on those curbs. There's this.
That is Alex Brown. And Brown is currently running second in pro to Dam. So a lot of incentive there to get around the Klimovich machine if you can.
Well, 22 minutes in, 13 minutes to go. Battles are still heating up between the GT4 Pro leaders trying to keep up with the GT4 AM leaders, and of course Jake Zito trying to hold off Tyler King. Everything's still up in the air here with just over 10 minutes left in the final round of our 8 rounds. I guess 16 rounds if you count every night as 2 separate races.
And so, big change, Larry. We were talking about the next season, season number 8 of the miniMite Sports Car Challenge coming up. And again, starting right after the new year on December 6th, probably not December 16th, on January 6th. And big change is that we're going to be going back, and I think almost exclusively in the next. Wow, look at Jake Zito just bicycle through the final chicane there as they come onto the front straight. And I think for a moment there, Tyler King was probably thinking he could drive underneath the number 19 machine. He had
well, sometimes you just
the
send
side
it.
of the carb so much.
But send it, see what happens.
But for season number 8 of the miniMite Sports Car Challenge, we're going to be going back to, I think, exclusively 60-minute races as opposed to the 2 35-minute races with the invert. In previous seasons, we had a combination of such, but I think next season all 60-minute races from what I've seen.
Well, right now this little battle is really heated up. We saw Zito putting the thing up 2 in the air. Tyler Kane now is not going to let him go as they caught some traffic here and there. Zito's got to be feeling that pressure now.
Leo Dragota's in the chat. He says, "Yay, more ways to die."
Yep.
This has been a tough season for young Leo.
Yeah, they can't always end up in championships. Sometimes the odds catch up with you, and you get caught in incidents that maybe aren't your fault, and the way the race cars roll.
All right, Larry, let's take a look, because we know that we were saying that Alex Brown had all the reason in the world to get around David Klimovich, but if Klimovich can get around Mike Dam, that would just as much put the Orion racer at risk to the Eagle Beaver man. But Klimovich has now gotten around Mike Dam, now sitting 3rd of all of our GT4 racers. Let's take a look in this battle for Pro.
Yeah, Alex Brown and that Mercedes. That car just seems to do so much better over the bumps and these curbs tonight.
Yeah, and I'm fairly certain that Mike Dam had an off-track or had a slowdown penalty there as you saw him tap his brakes.
He may be serving a penalty for too many incidents. Wow, that's going to take Mike Dam right out of any of the championship conversation. He came in tonight in 3rd in points, and this result will not be good for him. But let's take a look at the LMP3 battle here. Zito and King at it once more.
And Larry, I had visions of deja vu as we saw Zito lock up the right front wheel going through one of the chicanes there, and King was able to keep off the rear of the number 19 machine. He's going to follow him through as they head down now to turn 10 to the final chicane here. Another little break
Zito's car position. His car position is fantastic. Really doing everything he can to not give Tyler King any opportunity alongside of him. Look at this. He's not really blocking. He's going in a straight line. Doesn't want to leave the inside open. Doesn't want to give him an easy run down the outside either. Really good track position here for Jake Zito, knowing he still has to do this for 9 more minutes. Hoping he catches some more traffic soon, I think is what he's thinking.
Yes.
There is the traffic he wished for. Got Maxwell in the 111, who's going to go through the chicane ahead of him, and Zito's going to spin. No!
And Zito goes around Larry, and I think as he was watching the Porsche bound over the curbs, I think got out of the throttle a little bit because he saw the trajectory of that Porsche was probably going to come right into him. Let's take a look at this again.
Yeah, Zito kind of put himself in a bad spot here. He had to get past, or he was going to give up a spot to King.
And he got
instead
on the
of laying
binders
up
early.
enough, he didn't lay up enough. He ended up getting into the back of Maxwell, and it's not Maxwell's fault.
Nope.
Unfortunately for Zito, is going to drop him back now 5 seconds back from Tyler King, who now is your new leader of this race.
There you go. So again, Tyler King looking for lucky 13 on the season. 13 out of 16 possible. As we take a look here And Larry, look at this. Changes at the front as David Klimovich has gotten around Neil Weston. He moves now into second position in AM and in GT4.
All right, well, let's see if he can now make some ground up on a Chuck Lobato, who's been driving a very consistent race here, but he's got 2-second advantage over Klimovich and about 7.5 more minutes until we see checkers. So it's not over yet. Good move for Klimovich. Knew where he had the advantage, was able to make that pass before he got to that chicane. So now it's going to leave Weston into the hands of, was that we said was the 67 was Sterling.
Sterling.
267. So.
Well, no, that's Alex Brown right behind Neil Weston.
You know, some of the Eagle Beavers, I get them confused.
Yeah, so Alex Brown with the retirement of Mike Dam, or well, not retirement, but actually retirement, because we're still seeing Mike Dam on the pit lane.
Wow.
So Alex Brown is your pro leader.
Yeah.
And he's challenging Weston going into turn 1.
And he's going to maybe make that move, and there he is. All right, that's going to move him up to third in the running order. Around Weston.
And all the while, Larry, David Klimovich opening up over 2.5 seconds to this pair in all of just about half a lap. And he is starting to run Chuck Lobato down. That last time by was almost 0.4 of a second faster than Chuck Lobato.
Yeah, look at that pace he's running right here. As we check in with this Brian Bennett on the back of John Sterling, the other Eagle Beaver, the one I keep confusing for Alex Brown. Bennett, though, trying to do what he can with Stephen May and that McLaren behind him. Bennett's had quite the adventurous night here.
Yes. All right, here we go. Klimovich now right up to the back of Chuck Lobato's Frito Sport Mercedes.
This is for the lead in class, which is for the lead overall amongst the GT4s. This is what's coming down to now with 5 minutes to go. David Klimovich, Chuck Lobato, Mercedes, Porsche.
And Larry should also mention here, this could have some implications for the championship. Coming into the evening, Chuck Lobato was running 5th in the championship. David Klimovich was running 6th. They were separated by 10 points coming in. Of course, we know that Klimovich picked up the win in race number 1, so had a little bit of a points advantage there. And they were not many points back from Dale Maxwell. Matter of fact, I think Klimovich was only 12 points back from Dale Maxwell coming into the evening. He could find himself in 4th over in the championship after tonight.
And Maxwell, we know, has not had a good result either of these races tonight, so he's pretty far down the order.
Yeah,
but
currently sitting 10th in the AM. 13th out of all the GT4 racers.
Look at the precision of Klimovich here on the back of Lobato, all over him. He's so much quicker through the chicanes, and around here with as many as there are, that's comes to the advantage. They start to add up. We'll see if he can do real well here at this last hairpin here, turn 8. And get a good exit speed with one chicane in front of him. Don't be surprised if he tries to make a move after that last chicane before they get in through turn 1. Lobato has got to hit these chicanes perfectly. At least exit them perfectly. He does a pretty good job right there.
Take a look. There's Stephen May making a pass on John Sterling. So that was for 4th position in AM. That is your pro leader, Alex Brown, and he's got about 1.5 seconds, a little bit more than 1.5 seconds on Eric.
Pretty consistent in this race too. This last time by, Alex Brown ran a 1:35.4. Eric Violet's 135, basically same lap time almost. So Brown doing a real good job there, holding off Eric Violet to this point with about 2.5 minutes to go until we see at least white flag, see where current race leader Tyler King is come that time. There's Tyler.
There he is. Looks like he's coming down towards the hairpin at 8 now.
Probably gonna have 2 more laps here at the just coming up in the 33-minute mark. Shouldn't get the white flag. Maybe?
Should be, I think, the next. Should be the next.
Probably gonna
time,
get 2 more laps.
Yeah. Yeah. They're running about 1.5 minute lap times. Yeah. No white flag this time by, as there's Chuck Labano, our AM and GT4 leader, with David Klimovich now about a car length in arrears.
Labano doing a great job of hitting those corner exits and all the critical points here. Klimovich does look faster in a lot of places, but Labano picking the correct places to hold them off. And yet, here comes Alex Brown as well, your pro leader, bringing an Eric Violet with him. And with 2 to go, do you think these guys can end up with a 4-way fight for the win?
It's a possibility, Larry. It's still a long way to go, as Brown still has about almost 2 seconds before he gets up to the ampere there.
Yeah, there's Brown the last 2 laps, taking a second out of Klimovich and Labano. So it's not over yet. Lap and a half to go here in GT4. It's 2 AMs ahead of 2 pros right now.
You know, and we had mentioned early on, Larry, that the Mercedes chassis looks very stable through some of these chicanes. That it also seems to eat things up. It doesn't quite have the rotation that the Porsche does, but it doesn't necessarily need it. It's got all 4 wheels on the ground, I think, a little bit sooner than the Porsche. As we check over now with Tyler King, who is starting the final race lap of season number 7 here at Zolder, as King just reset fast lap, Larry, on lap number 22.
Trying to really put that stamp on what's been a fantastic season for him with a fastest race lap here in the second to final lap of the season, trying to win this thing going away, leave no doubt in anybody's mind. Meanwhile, these 2 battles here between Labano, Klimovich, and of course Brown and Violet have really heated up now with 1 lap to go. Does anybody take a move? Violet seems to be content where he is. Klimovich, though, I'm not sure how content he is. If he wants to make the move on Chuck Labano, he's going to have to do it soon.
Yeah, but I would tell you, given how... Oh, and Klimovich runs a little bit wide there, coming out of turn 4. I was just going to say, Larry, it looked as though Brown was maybe a little bit more concerned about what's in his mirrors with Eric Violet. He missed a couple of apexes by a couple of feet. And you can see he is starting now to maybe get a little defensive as Violet takes a look to the inside, coming into the chicane over at turn 5.
I'm not sure if Violet needs that position, but if Brown's going to give it to him, he might just take it. But this guy's going to take the overall tonight, this last heat.
There you go. It is Tyler King from Aerokinetics taking the win in race number 2. In LMP3, Jake Zito will finish in 2nd. And we should see Josh Vidal finish in 3rd here in just a moment as we jump back to this battle for the lead in GT4. Coming into the final corner, is it going to be Chuck Labano or David Klimovich? And Chuck Labano in the Frito Sport Mercedes. He's going to hold off Slowbro's David Klimovich in his Porsche Cayman. Finishing in with the win in GT4 Pro will be Alex Brown. He finishes 3rd overall with Eric Violet, who should now wrap up the Season 7 championship in GT4 Pro. He'll finish 2nd. Neil Weston comes home 3rd in AM. Brian Bennett 3rd in Pro.
Fantastic racing, other than the big incident that started our second race tonight.
Yes.
But this is a fun, interesting track, really difficult to master. A lot of mistakes happen, but those that leave their mistakes behind are the ones that do very well. Tyler King, great second race here tonight to make sure he gets that win. But look at Chuck Labano getting that overall win there in the GT4s. I can't wait to talk to him.
Yeah, indeed. Was able to stay there up on the front row. Great run for him here in race number 2. All right, so Larry, let's take a quick break. We'll thank some of our partners and sponsors, and when we come back, we'll talk to some of our podium finishers here for the final race of season number 7 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech miniMite Sports Car Challenge on Apex Racing TV. We'll be back in a moment.
Ricmotech high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
The SCCA Foundation is a 501c3 organization serving as the charitable arm of the Sportscar Club of America. One of the programs partially funded by the foundation is the SCCA Academy, an online learning management system used to keep real-life racing track officials up to date on the highest standards of race safety and officiating. Through this program, the SCCA Foundation is supporting the future of the best-trained corner workers and event officials in motorsport. You can support these efforts at www.sccafoundation.org.
The search is over. The most comprehensive league scoring solution is here, with the ability for multi-level championships, custom incident tracking, post-race time penalties, support for heats, drop weeks display, multi-car team scoring, advanced web widgets, rookie championships, a custom paint system, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
And welcome back, everybody, to Circuit Zolder, where we've just seen the season finale of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech miniMite Sports Car Challenge season number 7. I'm Greg Ginsberg, along with Larry Lefty McLeod. And Larry, looks like we've got some of our race winners. We've got some of our championship winners. Let's do this. Let's bring in, because we haven't heard from him in just such a long time, Larry. And I mean, I know it's worn on you and worn on me. Let's bring in Bobby Childs, who is our winner in race 1 in LMP3, driver the number 88 Ligier for D2D Sim Racing.
It has been a long time of waiting, but he's made his return to the interview stand. Bobby Childs, you get the win in that first round tonight. Unbelievable driving. Tell me a little bit about your night, Bobby. How you been?
Oh man, race 1 was really cool, but race 2 not so much. Just, you know, the way the track changed and the temperature changed, I just had no grip on either end, and I just want to go ahead and say, you know, great win to Tyler on race 2. But man, I feel really good about how race 1 went.
Yeah, you look great out there. Everybody else seemed to have their troubles. In race 1, you just kept it super clean. I'd be surprised if you even had a single off track that whole race. It just looked rock solid from our vantage point.
Yeah, I only had 5X at the end of round 1. So it was nice and clean. I was being very aggressive though. I made some deep dives on some guys to try to, you know, make sure I extended that lead I had, because, you know, we've got some, you know, we got a small field, but we got some fast guys, man. Tyler is super quick, and Joshua is super quick, and so if you get that advantage at all, you've got to build on it.
Yeah, it was a great job tonight, getting the victory, just making sure that no one even challenged you. Let them all have their problems while you just get the win. That has been a long time coming for you in these, and we we definitely love seeing you here. In fact, it's been so long. You got to come back. You got to join us in the booth again. It's been a while since Greg and I have been able to have
Especially since
Bobby.
Mike Dam won't sing for us.
We know Bobby would.
Well, it's what happened at Road America. I almost came in and I wanted to give you a good Dusty Rhodes Hard Times interview because Bobby Childs fell on hard times at Road America, but I decided, just to hang my head in shame, apologize profusely to the guys I wrecked. And I'm starting Daytona next week here at World Challenge, I think with 8 drive-throughs. I think that's what I've got.
Well, we'll be looking for that. You'll be the one just using the pit lane for the first half of the race, so that'll be interesting. But tonight, though,
you got to ride on board with me and check all those bump starts as I keep going through.
That's right. He'll be starting from Homestead.
We'll dedicate a second cam. We'll go back to split screen, and we'll get you as just a Bobby cam next week.
Yep. Thanks, guys. And I got to say a big hi to Stubby and Hans. Hans was giving me so much crap about what happened at Road America. So that win round 1 was for Stubby and for Hans and for the Jardier community.
Well, awesome job. Does anybody else you want to give any special thanks to here tonight for the victory that you earned?
Oh, man. Well, I got to thank our sponsor, Invictus. Of course, I got to thank my awesome teammates, Eric Violet, Chris Thorman, Bailey Piotrowski, David Wiggly Dave Payton. It just, it's a great team to be on. We're just having tons of fun. And guys, we're like you said at the break, man, registration's about to start. We'd love to get a bigger LMP3 field. Anybody watching the broadcast, come on out. This is kind of a starter series. You don't have to be a 9,000 I-rated driver to come out here and compete with us. Just come on and let's have some fun.
And we've got a few of those high ratings as well. It's a great mixture in this field. And, it's great victories for folks like Bobby Childs, fan favorite, getting that victory tonight. So awesome job, Bobby.
Yeah,
Can't wait to see you.
Fan singular
That's
favorite.
Right.
More fans than I got. Awesome job, Bobby.
The people's champion, but 4th in the books.
The people's champion.
The person's champion.
All right.
The American Dream, Bobby Childs signing off, heading back for hard times.
Oh, geez. All right, there you go, everybody.
Thanks,
Bobby
Bobby.
Childs, driver of the number 88 Ligier, your winner in race number 1 this evening, and finishing up 4th in the championship here in season number 7.
Suddenly
Thanks
we're
so
all
much.
out of time for all remaining interviews. No.
Exactly.
We're going to make it still
fast
interview
enough.
everybody.
And by the way, yes, and I think I made a mistake earlier. Registration is now open for season number 8 of the miniMite Sports Car Challenge. Go to xmsracing.com/series/MSC. All right, Larry, we just talked to our 4th best LMP3 racer here this season. Let's bring in our best LMP3 racer this season, taking the season 7 championship, winning 13 out of 16 races this season. Tyler King from Aerokinetics.
All right, Tyler joining us here post-race. Got the win in the final round. Got the fastest lap right there at the end of the race. Putting that stamp on a championship here in the miniMite series. Congrats, Tyler. How's that feel? You won the whole thing.
It's great, man. I'm not going to lie. After coming back last season, the rookie season, and just kind of getting my feet wet in this series, and really fell in love with the group of guys here. Everybody at the Ricmotech series does a really amazing job making sure we have a really great professional stream and broadcast. And the quality racing is great. I love racing the LMP3 guys. Little small class this year, but, we made it fun to bring this GT4 is always a great show to see. And, it feels good to bring Aerokinetics home for a championship for them. So see if maybe we can run it back next season.
Yeah, awesome job. I'm sure you're registered. Have you started to recruit others to come in and join you for next season?
I got a couple people I'm trying to sway over. I got some GT4 drivers coming, of course, but we need more LMP3s. So if you want to join, feel free to check us out this next season. It's going to be a great time. 60-minute races. Don't miss it.
Awesome job. Well, Tyler, great job here tonight. Got the victory in the last race. Put the stamp on this championship season. As Greg said, 13 wins in 16 races. That's just unbelievable dominance. So congrats on that. But I know you've got a big team there behind you, lots of friends and cohorts you run with. I'm sure you want to give a shout out to some of them.
Yeah, of course. Always thanks my family and friends for all the support me throughout this whole season. It's been a great time. Aerokinetics as well, always behind me, make sure I've got a good setup every week. We come out here. You guys here at the broadcast booth, you guys do an amazing job. Make sure we got some action-packed racing every night to watch. And, Ricmotech and all the admins here, They do a great job making sure that we got that great quality racing going on. Ryan Cobb doing amazing race officiating all season long. Props to him. He's got a tough job to do every week in, week out. And I wouldn't want to be in his shoes, but he does a great job making sure we all keep things under control. And it's a great time. You guys, if everyone's watching wants to come out and watch us and join us, please feel free. It's a great league. Wouldn't regret it.
Absolutely, yeah. We get the joy of getting to call it every week. Can't imagine what it's like on the other side of the steering wheel, though, and competing all the time. And your competition is at the highest level right now, and now you've got the target on your back for next season. They're all going to be coming after you, so I'm sure you'll be ready for that. But congrats, Tyler, on the victory on this championship here in LMP3. Your Aerokinetics team, Tyler King, your champion in LMP3. Congrats.
Thanks, guys.
All right, Larry, let's move over now to GT4. And I think first off, let's not make them wait any longer. The Klim Club has been waiting a very long time for this.
Yep.
Let's bring in our race 1 winner tonight in GT4 AM, driving the number 21 Slow Bros Porsche, David Klimovich.
There.
All right, joining us here, David Klimovich. David, I'm starting to think you like this track. A couple of awesome races for you and the Slow Bros Racing team. So tell me a bit about your night and what is it about this place for you?
Honestly, I don't know. I set up the car as a baseline and decided finally I was going to actually touch the setup of the car, and I spent an hour and a half messing with it, and then I was slower. And I just went back to the baseline, and I seemed to be going faster than most people.
Yeah.
And, yeah, they had it. It was on the officials, the same combo, not this week, but last week. And so I did like 3 races then and pretty much kind of got a lot of practice in that way. And yeah, I was just able to stay pretty consistent and keep my nose clean.
Yeah, awesome job there. And at the end of that second race, after getting the AM win in the first round, you're right in the back of Chuck Labano for the second half, 2/3 of that race, once you cleared a few others. And how hard was it to stay behind him and just push and fight for every little opening that he wasn't giving?
Oh, I had to hold back a little bit. Not coming into the hairpin, I was outbraking pretty much everybody that wasn't in a Porsche. I think that was probably the biggest advantage of that car on that track, was we could just carry a lot of speed into that hairpin. And I had to refrain a little bit from going for it because I wasn't quite on his bumper. And I think it would have been a little dirty to go for it. So I just hoped in the last like 2 turns or so, maybe I could get a clean exit, but I just couldn't pull it off. It was tough.
Yeah, well, you look so fast out there tonight. That gap closed out quickly, but sometimes making that last pass just takes a move that you shouldn't make, and probably for good reason you held off. Didn't need to take yourself as well as Labano out of it. That was still a great run for you. Take the win in the first round, take the second place in class in the second round tonight. Awesome job. But I know you have got a massive fan club that has been waiting for this for a while. There's some pent-up energy there. What'd you give a bit of a shout out and who's joined in? And
What you
all
call
the other
energy,
folks
I call aggression, Larry.
I gotta give a shout out to my mom and dad. They watch every week along with my girlfriend. They have a little watch party. And then my brother Chris joined the league. My dad actually is joining the league next. He's joining the next league, and my other brother Mike is also joining the league. So it's gonna be a lot bigger of a Klim Club.
There gonna be more on track than there are in the chat. I don't know what
Does
we're
this
gonna
mean
do,
that
Larry.
we're gonna get more in the chat to make up for those that are now behind the wheel?
I think they'll be leaving the chat and joining the race.
That's all right.
Stubby, you better find some friends, man.
It's okay though. It'll still be great. A whole pack of Klim Club there. The Slow Bros Racing is going to be booming next season. So
I got to shout out my friends too. I got a couple of friends, Al and Joe and Brian and Spencer, who watch sometimes.
Great, yeah, that's awesome. They're your fans in the chat are going all night every week, and it's great. And a night like this where you have the success, it certainly makes all of them feel pretty good. But awesome job here tonight. Anybody else that you wanted to give a shout out and mention to here with the victory that you earned?
Yeah, I'll say my sponsors. We got Ace Claro, my whiteboards for all your whiteboard needs. And there's another one that's going to be upset. But they're great too. Oh, St. Pete Sport Fishing. St. Pete Sport Fishing. Don't get mad at me.
It's on the side of your car, man.
I'm looking at the graphics right here. Don't worry. We'd have had you.
Oh, thank you guys. You guys put on an awesome show. I always appreciate watching the broadcast back. So thank you guys as well.
I appreciate that. Again, great job tonight getting AM victory in the first race, second race. Slow Bros Racing, David Klimovich, and we're looking forward to a massive Klim Club invasion coming next season.
Yeah, me too. Thanks, guys.
All right, everybody, there you go. All right, let's go to our round 2 winner tonight, and in GT4 AM, and took the overall win in round number 2. It is Chuck Labano from Frito Sport Racing.
All right, Chuck Labano joining us here, and Chuck, a couple great races, but that last round you took the overall win amongst all the GT4s, holding off David Klimovich right there at the end to take that victory. How you feeling about that? It's an awesome job.
Yeah, how about that, eh? I'm not a fan of the invert, but it certainly worked out in my favor this time. I'm gonna say, lucky for me, I wasn't the best as far as pace goes, but I was pretty consistent. Once everyone was battling with each other, I watched Neil in the back for a while. I watched Mike Dam. Everyone, they'd close up a little bit, then they fight each other, and then I get a little gap. And then, of course, I'd start screwing up because I got to stop looking at the relative. I just got to run my race. And then I got a real big surprise in turn 1 when I can't remember who passed me and then immediately went sideways, the LMP3. He was sideways so long. I was like, come on, get out of my way, please, 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 get out of my way. But yeah, we ended up getting through. Yeah, it's a little easier to run at the front, but it is still stressful.
Well, toward the end of that race, you would have hold off a very fast David Klimovich, who seemed to have the pace but couldn't find the place to make the pass. That's tough, and that shows a bit of your own ability to kind of shake the nerves and to do it when you need to get all the good corner exits to make sure you don't leave a position open. Because Klimovich had pace, he caught you, but he wasn't able to pass you.
He did. I was watching him. We've had some good races together. It depends on the track who's faster, but he had a little more pace over me this time, and he caught me fast. And I really thought that he was backing off and waiting for the last lap. Those Porsches could outbrake me in the hairpin every time, and I thought that's when he was going to make his move. But I just kept pushing a little bit, and then I'd go to the middle of the track and pretend I'm going on the inside, and then go back out. And I pulled every trick I could to make sure he stayed back there, and yeah, it was just enough.
Yeah, well, it worked really well to earn you that victory here tonight. So congrats on that for the Frito Sport team and all. But anybody else you wanted to mention here getting the victory?
Oh yeah, the Frito Sport guys doing great. We get some practice together and setups and whatnot. I'd also like to thank BMW for sucking and being able to stay up front. And of course, my loving wife, who's my only Twitch follower or Twitch watcher. Tonight she gets to sleep with a winner.
Well, congrats to her, but congrats to you for getting that victory here tonight. Awesome job, and the points are up. Looks like you're going to end up 4th overall at GT4 AM for the season. So congrats on that, and you get to go and celebrate tonight and enjoy another victory. So congrats.
Yeah, we'll look forward to challenging harder next season.
Yeah, that'll be great.
All right, thanks, guys.
Awesome job.
All right, everybody, there you go. That was Chuck Labano, your winner in race number 1, and looks like he's going to have a good evening. I guess nobody's going to be looking at Dave. His wife isn't watching Dave Malone on Twitch, I guess. Anyway, let's switch over to GT4 Pro, and we're going to talk to our race 2 winner here, Larry, and in GT4 Pro, and he's going to finish 2nd. Actually, you know what? Before we move to Pro, I completely forgot him. Let's stay with GT4 AM and talk to our Season 7 champion. And this was a hard one coming, and I think this means, Larry, an automatic move to Pro for season number 8. Let's bring in from Dragon Sport Racing, Lucas Dragota.
All right, congrats to Lucas Dragota. Not the way you wanted your night to go, but in the end, the points that you accumulated throughout the season pays off with a pretty big lead and ultimately a championship here in the GT4 AM class. Lucas, congrats. Not the way you wanted the night to go, but in the end, you get to the championship. How you feeling?
Feeling good. Thank you. Yeah, the night didn't go very well. Both crashing out the second race, so it didn't go very. I wanted to get at least one win, but it didn't happen. But I'm still glad I got the championship, and that's what matters most.
Yeah, we know that the way last season ended kind of on a sour note for you, you were pretty well and determined to come out and win it this time around. And really, by about the halfway point of the season, you had it just about locked in. Just that focus and drive got you through there. And tonight, it's just one of those nights. But awesome job throughout the season to constantly be at the front of the AM field and always fighting for the overall and GT4s. Does this mean that next season we're going to see you up in the pro ranks?
Oh yeah, definitely. It's gonna be fun to battle all the pro cars and maybe a bit more competitive championship. And that's gonna be fun because I got second overall in AM, so I think I could make an impact on the pro class.
Yeah, we're definitely looking forward to seeing you there next season. Congrats on this here tonight. Is anybody else you wanted to thank here for helping you get this championship?
My brother for sending me setups. I couldn't do it without him. My family for cheering me on. You guys for the awesome broadcast. Ryan for being a great race steward, and everybody here making this league just so awesome and fun to race in.
Well, great job here tonight. Not exactly the way you want it to go, but championship completely clinched here for Dragon Sport Racing's Lucas Tricota. Awesome job.
Thank you.
All right, there you go. And Larry, Lucas was spot on. Forget pro, forget AM. Lucas was the second highest points gainer over the course of the entire season in GT4. If there was only one GT4 championship.
Because remember, they're scored on the same points between them.
Exactly.
You're compared to AMs if you're an AM, but you earn points mixed in with the pros. So that's a big deal. Finish up there as an AM driver, just behind our ultimate champion in GT4 Pro.
Indeed, I wonder if some of the scouts from Orion or one of the other teams are searching out privateer
Maybe.
Lucas. We'll have to see in just a couple weeks. All right, let's switch over to GT4 Pro, and now we'll talk to our race 2 winner, and we'll dispense with the drama. Finished second in the GT4 Pro Championship. Racing for Eagle Beavers in his Mercedes AMG GT4, Alex Brown.
All right, Brown and the Eagle Beavers coming through tonight and getting that pro class victory here in that second race and clinching, as Greg just said, second place overall in the championship. Alex, how you feeling? It's a great job tonight.
I'm good. Did I get a win or something? I was completely even unaware of that. Were they AMs in front of me?
They were AMs only in front of you. Yeah, you were the winner of the pro category in that second race tonight.
It might be slightly under protest. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I don't know. I'm in a mixed feeling. Normally I'm a jovious Eagle Beaver member, but today I'm a little, confused and grumpy and happy and everything. So, yay! That's exciting. That's awesome. At the same time, I'm so utterly confused because I'm also a little grumpy.
Well, you don't have to be grumpy for long because you did at least, looks like, clinch second place in the championship in the pro category. And that's a huge accomplishment considering the level of talent that's in this field. It puts you right in the middle of all of them. And that's just an awesome job. So you're not now just getting camera time because of your great livery on the car. You're getting that time because you're fast.
Yeah, you know what? I'm learning a lot from these guys. It was definitely not a perfect season by anybody, really. It was just the new format of the sprints, I think, just lit an absolute fire under everybody. And, when you basically, light that fire under some of these guys with how close the competition is up front, mistakes are going to happen. Some of it was car related, some of it was just heat of the battle. I was joking tonight with John, my teammate, and I'm like, I remember I spun on the first lap at Okayama. I spun on the first lap at, other tracks, track. And he's like, oh, by the way, yeah, you forgot Suzuka too. And I'm like, gee, thanks. Anyway, that's the type of teammate he is. But those were the mistakes that were happening by a lot of people this season. So I hope it was entertaining, at least for you guys and everyone watching.
It always is. It's very entertaining. And it's also great to watch. Great driving. That race tonight, to be able to hold off, ultimately, the guy that won the championship in class, you got to hold him off for the entire race, it seemed, with Eric Violette behind you. That's no small accomplishment, and to be able to keep him back there, not give him an opportunity to get on by. It looked like there for a bit. You might have been watching your mirrors for a little while, but you eventually got him all cleared up and made sure he didn't get by you. So awesome job getting the pro class victory here in the second race, and second place in the championship is rock solid here for you, Alex.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks a lot to you guys.
Yeah, anybody else you want to thank?
John as well. Yeah, thanks a lot to John to keeping me calm in that race. Without necessarily saying it, John Sterling told me to shut up. Respectfully. And,
like
and that's a
whisperer?
good thing to have in your team sometimes.
Yeah.
Is he the eagle whisperer or the beaver whisperer?
I don't know. Listen, yeah, what is it? Watch the movie Role Models and get back to me on that.
Okay.
And we'll talk next season, okay?
Oh,
Sounds
boy.
good.
Yeah.
All right, so now we've got homework to do, Greg. All right, but
Yes, we do.
meanwhile, awesome job here tonight, Alex Brown, with a victory and clinching second place in the championship. Congrats.
I think that won like a Canadian Oscar or something. Okay, there you go, Alex Brown from Eagle Beavers Racing, your winner in race number 2 for GT4 Pro and finishing second in the championship for season 7. All right. I removed myself. There we go. All right, Larry. He actually checked in and he thought we forgot about him. He's been getting a little antsy waiting in the green room as millions and millions of people come in and spoken to us. But let's bring in our Season 7 GT4 Pro champion, driving for D2D Sim Racing, driving the number 89 Aston Martin, Eric Violet.
All right, Eric Violet joining us. And Eric, you sent us the notes pre-race and said you weren't here to really take any risks, take any chances. That second round tonight almost came to an end as you were dodging moving cars left and right, but somehow you made it through and had a couple of good results, but the championship is yours.
Test. Okay, good. My mic got out for a second. Yeah, let me see here. Yeah, the first race, it was kind of follow the leader. I was just trying to take it easy. You know, didn't want to blow that championship, so got a decent finish the first race. I saw Lucas, I think, was back there, and it's like he wasn't my competition, but I just didn't want an amateur to get the overall in the GT4. Not that he is an amateur; he's amateur in name only. As you know, he's quite quick. And then just try to avoid the chaos. And I don't know if you saw, but I was surrounded that second heat coming out of there, and luckily I didn't get it. Yeah, didn't even touch the paint. So it was all around me like a whirlpool of cars.
Oh, we watched the onboard replay of yours in particular, and it was almost like aim for the smoke and come out clean because cars were dodging left and right, hitting walls. Somehow you came through scot-free.
Yeah, so a little bit of luck there on my side. So just wanted to bring it home. Once Leo got caught up in that, I think, and Lucas wasn't around, and I was just able to get a little racier that second time. So I was doing basically everything I could to get it, just maximize the points and have some fun out there.
Yeah, well calculated, well executed to come into tonight knowing that you had a strong advantage. You just needed to score something. You did better than that. You actually scored very well in both races. Did a great job. It shows that sometimes being just a little bit less than super aggressive actually pays off if you've got good pace.
Yeah, I only had one of those all season. It was last race at Sebring with Travis. And speaking of Travis, I got to throw a shout out. He couldn't make it tonight. It was really unfortunate he couldn't make the finale. But he was. I'm not sure if you guys did the shout out, but I got to make sure that it's on the broadcast. That happy birthday to Travis's mom, 80 years old. Freaking awesome.
It is awesome, and certainly forgiven for Travis for hanging out with mom for 80th. And my mother just turned 80 last week. I completely get it. It's a great thing. So maybe they'll watch the race together and watch you win the championship.
Oh, I don't think that's what they want to do.
Probably not. But you did end up clinching the championship here. Well earned. It's a tough series. It's a tough race. Lots of different makes. Every car's got different advantages. So you have to do it throughout the whole season, and you did that very well tonight. And throughout the season, just keep accumulating points. How hard was this one compared to some of the championships you've won in past series?
I think it was more difficult in the beginning, but I think some of the competitors just, I know there was some talk about car, but I think there were some mistakes, as well. I mean, leading a race and touching, dipping tires in the grass. Doesn't matter how good or bad your car is. If you're in the grass, you're not gonna survive. But there actually was truth, like especially at Sebring. But here they were fast. I mean, you had Brian Bennett. He was fast all week. I mean, he's I think the only one to pull a 33.8, something like that in practice. And the Orion guys and those Beamers, they were right on his tail the entire first race. So I think the tracks with the shorter straightaways suited the Beamer well. But you put it on a track that has a long straightaway like Sebring, and they just die.
Yeah. Well, the Beamer struggled over some of the curbs tonight, so we saw a lot of. It seems some of the other cars, the Mercedes in particular, the Porsche, seem to do a little bit better. But that's what happens in these multi-platform GT type of series. Is one night, one corner is an advantage to one car. You know what happens to the other cars in other nights, and you still got to go out and do it every single week. And that's exactly what you did to earn this championship. And I know you got some folks you want to give a shout out to. And I know one of them in particular we just interviewed. So I'll let you take it and give the thanks for who you want to give the shout out to.
All right, I'll try to make it quick, but I got to give it out to Extreme Motorsports for just putting the league together. It's like I've said before, it's a great place to come play. If anybody's looking for a series to run, this is just an awesome home for any of the competitors. Ricmotech, miniMite, thanks for sponsoring us. It's always great to have a big sponsor, behind us. You guys, the broadcast, always great to go back and watch these. I know you guys put a lot of work into this, and so it's appreciated. My teammates, both, Bobby in the LMB3, without him and for what he does for the team with the paints and the league, just makes the broadcast look so much better with these cars looking the way they do. Chris for sponsoring us. He's still footing the bill for us, so shout out to Thorman. I know he didn't have a good night tonight. David, great teammate, even though he was part-time, so that was kind of unfortunate. Life kind of got in the way there. And hope to have Kevin Ford back here. It's it's really unfortunate. Love to hear his voice come back and just have him be part of the league. All the admins, Ryan doing the race stewards. It's awesome to have live race stewards here. So everybody who's watching the broadcast, really great. Of course, my wife Laura, my daughters Megan, Sarah, for letting Dad come out and play every other week. So it's a blast. Thanks, guys.
All right, well, thanks, Eric Violet, and congratulations again on your championship for D2D Sim Racing here in GT4 Pro. Congrats.
Appreciate it. See you guys next time.
All right, and it's not going to be all that long, Larry, before we get to next time. Let's take a quick look at what we've got coming up on the schedule. Next week, Monday night, it is the Ricmotech World Challenge Season 7 finale. We'll be at Daytona, and I remember we opened so many World Challenge seasons at Daytona. This time around, we wrap things up, and we've got some championships that are definitely in contention, so please join us next Monday night. And then Season 8 of the miniMite Sports Car Challenge going to be starting up January 6th. Registration is open. If you would like to join us here in the miniMite Sports Car Challenge, if you think you got a competitive GT4 car or LMP3 racer, you can go to xmsracing.com/series/MSC. And then on January 13th will be the start of Season 12 of the World Challenge. Registration opens up in a little bit over a week on the 16th of December, and you can go to xmsracing.com/series/RWC. All right, so for Larry Lefty McLeod, for John Grabowski, I'm Greg Ginsburg. Have a great week, everybody, and we'll see you next Monday night for the World Challenge finale. Have a great one.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, ricmotech.com.